this example with you. So here we have public class test pass object, and we have a main. So we're going to use circle with private data fields, and if you remember, we already spoke about circle with private data fields, and it's basically our circle class, but it had private fields, so we couldn't actually access the radius anymore because the radius was private, so we had to have methods to be able to access it. So here, in main, we're creating a new circle, and we're setting it 1. So what does 1 mean? 1 is the radius. If we recall, the constructor took the parameter and set the radius with that value. So our radius is going to be 1. Now, here, we're going to set n is 5 and pass into print areas. We want to see the area for radius from 1 through 5. So we're going to pass in 5, and we're going to pass in the circle. And then once we're completed, we're going to print out what the radius is and what the value of n is. And this is to show you the difference between pass by value as well, but let's get there. Okay, so we call print areas. Now print areas takes 2 parameters, C, circle with private data field C, which in our case was the circle we just created with the radius of 1. It also takes an integer n, which now is called times, and times initially has the value of 5. So when we print out the radius area, while times is greater than or equal to 1. Well, what was times? We said it was 5 because it was just passed in from n, and it's 5. So while 5 is greater than or equal to 1, is that true? Yes, 5 is greater than or equal to 1. System.out.println c.getRadius. Well, since it's private, we have to use getRadius. GetRadius will give us the radius, which is 1. So it's going to print out 1, and c.getArea. And if you recall, the formula, which was the method, getArea, just did pi r squared, radius times pi. So 1 times 1 times 3.14159 should be 3.14159. So that's the area that should get printed. Now we want to set the radius to a different value. So we do c.getRadius, and getRadius was 1. Now we're setting it to 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. We set the radius to 2. Then we do times minus minus. So times is now 4. It was 5, now it's 4. And then we're going to check it's 4 greater than or equal to 1. You can see the pattern is we want to do this 5 times. So we're setting, we passed in 5. Now we just made the variable 4, and we're going to make it 3, 2, 1. And when it gets to be 0, then we're going to break out of the loop. So we do it from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, okay, so now our 4 is 4 greater than or equal to 1. Yes, 4 is greater than or equal to 1. So system.out.println c.getRadius, and the radius is 2, because we just updated it here. We had said getRadius, which was 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we used the set. Because we couldn't actually access our radius because it was private, we had a set radius method, which just said whatever you pass in, the radius is going to be equal to the number that's passed into the method. So in our case, it's 2. So now it's 2, and then our area is going to be 2 times 2 times 3.14159. Then we set it to get radius 2 plus 1 is 3. So we set our radius to 3, and times now becomes, what are we up to? It becomes 3. We were 4, number 3. And we're going to do this again and again and again. So 5 times it's going to become, now 3 is greater than 1, yes, so our radius is 3, and our area is 3 times 3 times 3.14159. Then we're going to get the radius, which is 4, and 4, get the radius is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, times minus minus times is 2. So you can see the pattern that's going on here. Now the point I want to make is when we come back and to our main, after all of this happens, n is going to get returned. And here, n went down. It was times was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but when 0, but when we come back here, n is still going to be 5 because it's actually passed by value and it doesn't get changed. However, classes do get changed, and the object that's passed in does get changed because it's a reference. It's actually passing the address, a copy of the address, and it does get changed. And in the next video, I'm going to run this, and I'm going to show you how it actually does get changed while there's pass by value for variables, the object itself will get changed, and we'll see that in a minute.